All right. So if you didn't hear me earlier, it might be helpful tonight to have some blankets or towels, some blocks, and maybe a tissue. We're going to do a little pranam practice, a little breathing practice tonight. And sometimes I find when I do that, I get a little postnasal drip. So that might be helpful, not a necessity. And certainly you can modify the props to make them work for you tonight, depending on what you have in your home and how your body is feeling tonight. So come into a comfortable seat, one that is strong and supportive, one that gives you this chance to just settle and come onto your mat, to let go of the day and to arrive into your practice. So as you welcome yourself into your practice tonight, I'll tell you a little bit about where we're going. So last week, if you were able to join me, I did a little bit of energy work, just kind of tapping into the first 5 chakras. So earth energy, fire energy, air, ether, all the way up. Water, I missed that one. And there was a lot of great feedback that you guys shared with me. And so what I thought we would do over the next several weeks is actually dive into one chakra at a time. So this week, we're going to just start right at the foundation. So Mooladhara, which is our root chakra, is associated with feelings of groundedness, of connection, of security, of stableness and steadiness. And so when we think about the phrase stira sukham asanam, it's this idea of strength and ease within our practice. What connects us? What keeps us strong? And how does that really help us find a little bit of room to flourish, to grow, to open up, to rise up? And so as we're in this interesting time, right, it's really this idea of coming to what keeps us connected. So as you're settling into your body, into your breath, into your mind, just notice what might be starting to circle in your feelings, in your mental state, in your body. Maybe tapping into that idea, the energy of connection to what grounds you, might be helpful in practice tonight or going forward. So the element is earth, right? It's that idea of grounding and connection. So pay attention, even in this moment of seated connection, to what is touching the earth. Notice your sits bones, notice your legs, maybe even the parts of your feet that are touching the earth. Make any adjustments that help you get a little bit more strongly connected. Rolling the inner thighs, separating the butt flesh a little bit, shifting and moving. And then as you feel that grounding energy, see if you can bring a little bit of ease into some places that might need it. Maybe it's in breath. Maybe it's in shoulders from hunching over the computer all day. Maybe it's in heart space. Maybe it's right in between your eyes. But we'll focus tonight on using this idea of grounding and connecting energy that allows us to soften in the places we need to soften. And then begin focusing on breath. Notice how it flows in and out. Not to judge, not to shift or change right now, just to notice. And then see if you can bring some awareness now to breath, to send it a little bit deeper. So oftentimes we talk about belly breathing, right, where the rise and fall of belly happens. That might work. Or you might think about breathing into your sacrum. Or breathing into your pelvic floor. So it's not just about belly rising and falling, it's about bringing breath all the way down. If you could imagine the tailbone, that length of your spine all the way down, bring breath down to the base, down to the foundation. So there's a few things that we can associate again with this idea of Mooladhara root chakra. The color is red, the sound is lum. And just as we come to the closing of the centering time, just notice if the color red or the sound of lum resonates with you. We'll use those things in our meditation at the end of our practice today, but it's sometimes just helpful to have a little visualization of color or a little auditory sound to connect with in practice. I invite you now to bring both of your hands down to your low belly. We're going to just connect here for a moment, perhaps to set an intention for your practice tonight, noticing what's come up for you. Maybe there's something you want to connect a little bit more deeply with tonight. Maybe something in your body or something in your breath, something in your heart or your mind. Bring a little bit of warmth with your touch just down to very low belly. So if practicing bandhas is part of your practice, Mula Bandha is something you can explore tonight. There is a little bit of controversy. I am a little bit on the fence about it myself. It's basically drawing the perineum up and inwards, right? So it's almost like a Kegel exercise. For women, we're often more familiar with that, right? But it's drawing the perineum in and up. The controversy with this bandha lock, with this energetic lock, is that sometimes we do it too much, right? And then we end up feeling constipation or bound. And so you're going to notice tonight if that Mula Bandha lock, if that's something you want to just play around with. It's that idea of drawing perineum in and up, right? So even if you're not going to do that, you can have that feeling of drawing energy up from the root chakra. Take 2 more deep breaths wherever you are, just to seal any intention you want to set for your practice, or if you're playing with Mula Bandha. And then release your hands, release the lock, and softly blink open your eyes. We're going to start our practice tonight with a little bit of pranayama, a little bit of breathing practice. So if you need to shift your feet, you certainly can. But when we do this breathing practice, we're going to do Nadi Shodhani, which is alternate nostril breath. Another name for it is Anulom Vilom. So we're going to alternate our nostrils, and I'll just give a quick, I'm guessing this is an intermediate class, right? So many of you might be familiar with this already, but I never want to make an assumption. So if you have not done this before, I'll walk you through it, right? And you can practice it with me. If it's already part of your practice and you want to try it on your own, please feel free. One way to try this is to take your right hand, leave your left hand just in your lap in a comfortable place. Take your right hand and bend your second and third fingers down and bring your pinky and fourth finger together. That is now going to face your face, right? So your thumb is going to be next to your right nostril, and your ring finger and pinky finger are going to be next to your left nostril. So we'll start this just by taking a few deep breaths. And then when we begin, we're going to close right nostril and inhale left. At the top of inhalation, we'll close both nostrils just for a moment, and then release right nostril and exhale right. Inhale right. Close both nostrils just for a moment, and then exhale left. That is one complete cycle. So inhale left, exhale right, inhale right, exhale left. You're going to do this at your own pace. I'll walk everyone through the first cycle just for those of you who are a little bit less familiar with it. About 3 to 5 rounds is great. And then you're going to just let the practice go and come back to natural breath, right? Nadi Shodhani, this alternate nostril breath, is a channel purifying breath. And so what we're doing is we're just getting our bodies ready for this energetic practice we're going to engage in tonight. So everybody get your hand ready, right hand ready. I'm not mirroring you because I want to do the practice myself. Sit up nice and tall. Again, feel that connection to earth. Feel the lengthened spine out through the crown of your head. Just breathe normally and naturally for 2 more breath cycles. And then begin. Close right, breathe in left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right, close right, exhale left. That's 1 round. Do 2 or 3 or 4 more rounds of that same cycle with your own breath. And when you're ready, you're gonna just release your hand. And that way I'll know that you're done too. See if you can keep the inhale and exhale about the same length. If at any point it starts to feel uncomfortable, you're gonna let the practice go and just come back to normal breath. It might help to visualize that red color, breathing into that red light. If it works for you with that little pause at the top of inhalation when both nostrils are closed, great. And if not, you're gonna just switch it and keep going. Once you're done with your cycles, you're going to release both of your hands, maybe softly close your eyes or just have a soft gaze. And just notice any sensations that are occurring now in your breath or in your body or in your mind. Just connect. And then softly blink open your eyes. Lean back if you've been sitting cross-legged and just shake your legs out a little bit. Use the tissue if you need it. I often do after a pranayama practice. And then we're gonna do a little foot massage. So you're gonna leave either one leg bent or extended, your choice. Cross the ankle over your thigh or your knee, not pressing on your knee. And you're gonna just start by giving whichever foot you wanna start with a nice little massage. We did some of this last week too, and it's just, I feel like it's such a nice moment to really just take care of ourselves. And so since we'll be doing this focus on grounding energy, we're actually not going to be doing much on our feet tonight, a little bit, but it's still nice to take care of our feet, which are the things that touch the earth most often. Draw a line from your heel up each toe line, and then give each toe a little wiggle at the top once you get there. Then you're going to grab a hold of your big toe mound and your little toe mound and give it a little wiggle waggle shake, just to loosen up the fascia and the ball of your foot. And then you're going to interlace your fingers with your toes, getting the webbing as close as you can tonight. And then begin making some circles. So you can make circles with your ankle, but you can also make circles or figure eights with the ball of your foot. You can play around with both of those, noticing what feels really delicious tonight. Make sure you go in both directions. And then lift and spread your fingers, lift and spread your toes, slide your fingers out, point your foot. Flex your foot, you're using your hand just to help you get that little extra stretch. Make a soft fist with your opposite hand and just tap out the bottom of your foot. And then an open hand on the top and bottom just for a little tap. And you can bring that all the way up your leg, maybe all the way up into your hips tonight. This is the area of the body we're going to be focusing on tonight. So give them a little bit of love coming all the way down. And then hold on to the outside of your foot and just open up your hip a little bit right here. Nice. Stretch that leg nice and long and then draw the flesh of your buttocks back so that your hip comes back into the socket. And then we'll do the other foot, just giving it a nice massage wherever feels good. Noticing. Maybe this foot feels a little bit different already. Oh, I got some tingling going on tonight. It feels good. And then draw a line with your thumbs, almost like you're pressing up, right? From the heel all the way up towards each toe. When you get to that toe at the top, give it a little wiggle and pull. And then once you've done those 5 lines, grab a hold of the big toe mound and the little toe mound and give it a little wiggle waggle shake, loosening up the ball of the foot. And then we'll interlace fingers and toes, shaking hands with our foot, and then rotate either ankle or ball of foot. Little circles, big circles, or figure 8s for the ball of the foot there. Go in both directions. And then lift and spread your toes, lift and spread your fingers. Keep your toes active as you slide your fingers out. Use your hands to help you point and flex. And then make a soft fist with the opposite hand and just tap out the sole of the foot. And then an open hand, little clap at the top and bottom of your foot. And then all the way up your leg. You can do it with a little fist if you like that better, or just a little slap. Getting all the way up into that hip area, because that's going to be the area we focus on tonight. Then hold on to the outside of that foot and open up your hip. Just a little shake here. Nice. Stretch that leg out long. Draw the flesh and the leg back into its socket. Sit up nice and tall. You can stay here in extended legs, or if you want to recross your legs, you can. We're going to do a little bit of stretching. So really feel as though you're rooting down wherever you're sitting right now. Feel the length of your spine coming from that rooting. And then inhale, bring your arms all the way up. Exhale, left arm comes down. You're going to give a side bend to the left. Right? So when you make this side bend happen, you can change your legs as much as you need to, right? See if you can, instead of leaning into that, right, you can really extend that and feel that, right? Keep pressing your right sits bones down into the floor to use that to lift you up, right? So we're not collapsing in left side body. We're lengthening the right side body. Take one more deep breath there. Maybe drawing a little bit more energy up as you root down into the earth. And then inhale, both arms are going to come all the way up. Take a nice stretch here. And then exhale, right hand comes down. Remember, we're not reaching all the way over towards the right this time, but you can do that just to feel the difference, right? When I do that, my left hip pops up a little bit. Press that left hip, press that left sits bones down. Root down as you rise up. Feel the length in the left side body, right? You can play with how much you turn your torso open even here. Be careful that you're not shrugging that right shoulder so much, right? Keep that right shoulder drawing down your back even here. Take one more deep breath. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Beautiful job. Take one breath here, really lengthen your spine, and then on your next exhalation, you're going to bring your right hand to the outside of your left knee, your left hand behind you. Same feeling we had before, press down into the earth. You can even sink a little bit here. And then from that pressing down, lift your spine and exhale, maybe turn a little bit to the left. Okay? So we're not turning so much that we're yanking our knee or our hip. We're using the connection to the earth to help us get length and then feeling that opening and that twist. Take one more deep breath here, everyone. Notice if your ribs are jutting out, draw them back in. See if you can engage Mula Bandha if you're practicing that even here tonight. Exhale, unwind, pause at the center just for a moment. Take a deep inhale, nice long spine, and then exhale, turn towards the right this time. Left hand on the outside of your right knee, right fingertips are behind you. Really, they're there just to help you remember to keep your spine lengthening, but keep your front ribs drawing in just a little bit, right? Engage your core muscles just a little here, right? We're not keeping us so strong that we're rigid, but we're engaging so that we can get that length and some opening in our hearts. Take one more breath in this little twist. Just notice the feeling and the flow of breath. And then on your next exhalation, you're going to come back to center, pausing here for another moment. Nice. Bring your feet in front of you, about mat distance apart, right? You might not be facing that direction of your mat, but a little bit wider than hips, knees are bent, and we're going to do a little bit of psoas work here. This is the Joe psoas stretch. If you guys have taken with Joe Miller, the owner of the studio. And you're going to just windshield wipe your legs from side to side. And then you're going to pause, and if you've got some props beneath you, you're going to move them and make sure you have a little bit of room. The next time your knees go all the way over towards the left, you're going to let them stay. Connect your knee and the arch of your left foot. Take a deep inhalation. Press down into the left sits bones, the left thigh into the floor. Your right hip is going to come up a little bit. You're going to inhale and lengthen and turn towards the back left corner of your mat. Keep your ribs drawing in and back. Fill up that breath in your back body. And then if you like, you can exhale, walk your hands forward. Keep pressing your thigh and your hip crease into the, or your hip bone into the floor as you lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And then maybe there's a place where you want to come down onto forearms. And that's while you'll rest for a few breaths. What I hope that you're feeling right now is breath in back body, right? So breath in sacrum and the curve in the middle of your back. So mid and lower back. Keep pressing knee and foot together strongly. If there's any knee pain, keep your feet super active too. Take one more full breath in and out here. And then inhale will bring you back up. Knees will flip over to the other side. Make that connection between knee and arch. Inhale, press thigh and right hip now strongly into the mat. Lift, 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 and then turn towards the back right corner of the room or the mat or whatever's in that direction. You're going to keep your spine nice and long, but breathe into back body. As you begin walking your fingertips forward, you can come down onto blocks or forearms, whatever works for your body tonight. And breathe into your back body here. Press knee and foot together strongly. Take another full round of breath there. What we're working on is stretching and engaging the psoas muscle, which is something we'll be working on tonight. Next inhalation is going to bring you all the way back up. You can hold onto your shins if you want and just come back to center and take a few deep breaths right here, wherever you are. Nice. All right, everybody, we're going to come onto our backs right now. And bring the soles of your feet together and allow your knees just to open up a little Supta Baddha Konasana. You can bring your hands back down to Muladhara, the root chakra right at lowest part of your belly, right above your pelvic floor, or at your pelvic floor. We're going to take this moment to just connect once again. What grounds us? How does that connection to grounding allow us to open up? So we're allowing gravity to open up our inner legs just a little bit here. You might notice that if your legs are pretty open, right, you might need, in tonight's practice, we're going to be working on Pigeon Pose. You might need to practice just engaging a little bit more. You can even try that here if you press the feet together and engage those muscles a little bit more, right? Supta Baddha Konasana is an opening one, but if you're pretty open, just take note. Nice, and then draw both of your knees into your chest. You can hold on to the outsides of your shins, and you're gonna just roll from side to side, just a little bit of a low back massage here. And then left leg is gonna either go down to the floor or foot is gonna go down to the floor, your choice, and you're gonna draw your right knee in a little bit more. Take a deep breath. Draw your knee into your chest. And then you're gonna hold on to the outside of your knee or your shin or whatever works for you. And you're gonna just rotate your hip about 4 or 5 times in each direction, going as slowly as you want. Circles on the ceiling with your knee is the goal, right? So we're just getting a little bit of motion in hips to help us get prepared for some pigeon pose tonight, which is where we'll be going. After you've done about 4 or 5 times in each direction, hold on to that knee one more time. Left leg can be doing whatever it wants to do, and you're gonna breathe deeply in and out. And then release your leg. Take a breath with nothing going on here. And then draw your left knee in towards chest, right? Right foot can be on the floor, right leg can be extended, whatever works for you. Breathe deeply as you draw your knee in tight, right? You're gonna feel that pressure of belly on thigh. And then hold on to it with your left hand and begin making some circles, about 4 or 5 in each direction. Doing it mindfully means you're just noticing, right? We can just kind of fling around our knee here, but what I'm hoping that you'll do tonight is really engage with, what does my body really feel like tonight? Pigeon pose, the one that we're moving towards tonight, is something that many people love. It just feels good, and we often like to just flop down into it. But tonight we're gonna really focus on how does this connection that we have towards grounding energy really help us open up mindfully and not just flop into the space that we occupy. Once you're done with your circles, you're gonna just draw that knee in one more time. And then release the foot to the floor or the leg to the floor and take a breath. Nice, here we go. We're gonna cross right ankle over left thigh. So it's reclining pigeon right here. You're drawing the right hip away. So you're creating space between your upper right thigh and your hip bone. Engage your right foot nice and strong, and then you can draw your left leg up if you like. You can hold on to your shin if you can do it without crunching in your neck or your shoulders. You can also hold on to the back of your thigh or nothing at all. Okay? But what I want you to feel tonight is that you've got this relaxation in your shoulders and neck. And what you're really doing is creating space, even though you're drawing it towards you, by pushing your knee away from you. Keep your right foot really strong and active here. Breathe into any of the sensations that you feel in this stretch. Notice where you're feeling it. If you're feeling it in your knee, activate your foot a little bit more. We don't ever want to feel pain in our knee, especially in pigeon pose. And if you do, you're going to back off a little bit. Take one more deep round of breath. Exhale, release the left leg to the floor, uncurl that right leg, bring the right foot down to the mat, take a breath. And just notice how lumbar curve, notice how back body is feeling on the mat right now. Maybe it feels different or maybe it doesn't. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh this time. We're creating that space, right? Drawing our torso nice and long as we press our left knee away, even if we're drawing our right shin in this time, right? Shoulders aren't doing the work, neck isn't doing the work. You're gonna figure out what works best for you tonight in this figure 4, in this reclining pigeon, or dead pigeon, which I don't really like that name, but some people call it that. Keep your left foot strong and active. You're still creating space in that little hip crease. Breathe deeply into those sensations you've got. Notice if you're jutting your chin up and see if you can just relax it so that the back of your head is comfortable on the floor. Again, if that's not possible by holding onto your shin, holding onto the back of your thigh, or nothing at all, or using that blanket or towel you have nearby to help you is always a good option. Take one more breath wherever you are. And then on your next exhalation, you're going to release both feet to the floor, pausing for a moment to feel the sensations in back body, to feel sensations in hip. Notice maybe if everything just feels a little bit more settled, a little bit more grounded as you connect to the earth. All right, everyone, we're going to roll over onto whichever side you prefer and come on to hands and knees. When you come on to hands and knees, you're going to move in a way that feels good for you for just a few breaths. Patting under your knees is totally welcome. Whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're just taking a child's pose or whether you're doing some cat-cows or you're swaying your hips, see if you can connect what you're doing with your own breath, whatever that means for you tonight. Nice. We'll all join up for some cat-cows now. So on your next inhalation, draw your shoulder blades down your back, open up your heart. Exhale, round it, drawing your belly button up towards your spine as you look inward. Keep moving with your own breath. Few rounds just the way you normally do it. And then let's bring some awareness to our root chakra, right? So see if you can get the movements from your tailbone. See if your tailbone can lead the way. If you're playing around with Mula Bandha tonight with the root lock, you might want to try inhaling, letting the perineum go. Exhaling as you round into Halloween cat, drawing the perineum up and in towards your navel. It might be interesting to try the exact opposite. Inhaling and locking, exhaling and releasing. And if you're not practicing Mula Bandha, you feel like you're a little tight there anyway, that's fine too. You're going to just keep moving with breath and drawing that energy from tailbone, from that pelvic floor. Good. The next time you exhale, you're going to send yourself all the way back into child's pose. Float yourself back up through cow on your inhale and exhale back through child's pose. 2 more rounds just like that. The next time you're back in child's pose, pause and stretch your arms out nice and long along your mat. Up on spider fingers. See if you can get that length now from your hip creases, from your tailbone, out through the crown of your head and your fingertips. And then plant your hands, press down strongly into the top part of each finger. Right? Maybe even lift up your palm just a little bit. Rise up onto your knees so that you can tuck your toes. Press your hands fully into the mat now, keeping that idea of pressing fingertips in. And then exhale, send your hips back into downward facing dog. Pedaling it out 1 foot at a time. Maybe bending both knees. Welcoming yourself into our first dog pose together tonight. Make whatever movements feel good for you. You can shift over to the sides of your feet, drawing your hips to each side if you like, or just pedaling, whatever feels good for you. Nice. On your next inhalation, you're going to walk your feet. Well, let's all walk our feet before we connect it with breath. Walk your feet a little bit closer together and come to just a place of stillness for a moment. And then inhale, we're going to bring our right leg up. My space is a little limited today. Right leg up nice and long. Whee. Keep pressing back through the right heel. That leg is going to be strong and steady. We're not opening up our hips here. Right hip stays in line with left hip. And then on your next inhalation, you're going to shift forward into plank pose. Leave that right leg lifted, extending back through the heel. If you want to, on your next exhalation, you're going to take a little chaturanga one-legged. Inhale back up to one-legged plank. And then exhale back, one-legged dog. Bend that knee. This time the sole of the foot goes up towards the sky and then over towards the left side, opening it up for a little fire hydrant dog. Keep pressing strongly into both hands. Inhale, extend that leg once more behind you. Exhale, draw your knee in towards your nose and step your right foot forward. Here we are in lunge. Good, so set yourself up so you can really engage, right? Notice if your tendency is to sink in your back leg. Notice if your tendency is to hang out on your right hip. Just draw some attention and awareness into this lunge. Blocks are there to help you if you like them. Not a lot of direction that I'm giving right now. You're just playing, maybe moving a little bit in your lunge. See now if you can extend back through your heel into Mooladhara, into your root chakra. And then from the base of your tailbone out through the crown of your head, one long line of energy, one long line of connection. On your next exhalation, you're going to drop your left knee, bring it slightly behind you, click your toenails to the floor, tilt your pelvic floor down so that you're rooting your tailbone down, lift your heart into Untitled, and then on your exhale, you can settle a little bit more into that front knee bend. Hands can come to heart center, stay down by your side or on your hips, or rise up overhead. Draw your right hip back, left hip forward. Create some space for your belly. Take one more breath here. If you like, you're gonna reach back to find your left foot, or you're gonna just stay in Anjaneyasana, right? Hand can come down to the block, or stay connected to your heart. If you wanna make it more of a balance, press your foot into your hand as you draw your hand and foot closer towards your buttocks. Oh yeah, a little opening to the right side. Good, on your next exhalation, no slingshotting. Release it gently. Good job, you're gonna tuck your toes and lift your back knee for a little Ardha Hanumanasana. So you're gonna inhale, stretch your right leg. Oh, that feels good. Exhale to bend. Inhale, stretch that right leg. Exhale to bend. One more with breath. Inhale to stretch. Exhale to bend. Good job. This time you're going to inhale, stretch and hold it. Draw that right leg. Press strongly into your heel and your big toe and draw that energy up into your right hip so that you're drawing that right hip up and back just a little bit, almost like you're sticking your butt back. Nice long spine. Take one more breath. Good job. On your next exhalation, you're going to bend your front knee. Maybe wiggle your right foot out a little bit closer towards the side of your mat. Bring both hands to the inside of your big toe. We're going to go into a lizard pose. So back knee can be down or up. Draw both of your hips together so that you're not sinking. And then you're going to walk your hands out on the diagonal, coming down onto blocks or forearms. One of the things that Susie often says in this pose is you get to churn your butter. So churn your butter by moving your hips around in little circles or side to side, whatever feels good for you. Noticing if your back leg is down, how you're drawing energy into your knee. If your toes are on the ground and your knee is up, Keep drawing your hips towards each other. Maybe opening up your right knee just a little bit. We're gonna stay here for another breath. On your next inhalation, come back up and frame your right foot, and then step yourself back, downward facing dog. That might feel like a little bit of a resting pose after all that hip work. Notice the difference between both sides. Does your right heel come a little closer towards the earth? Nice. We're going to do the other side. If you need to take a break at any point, you're going to do what works best for your body. Inhale. Oh, yeah. Left leg comes up, straight, strong, and steady. Knee and toes point down. On your next inhale, shift forward into this one-legged plank. And then if you want, exhale, chaturanga, one-legged. Inhale back up to plank. And then exhale back, one-legged dog. This time, bend your knee, sole of the foot goes towards the sky. And we open up the hip, looking under the left arm, the left armpit. Press strongly into both hands. And then inhale, that left leg comes straight again. Exhale, knee comes in towards nose as we step left foot forward for a lunge. I'm realizing my space is a little too small for me tonight. Get yourself settled into your lunge. Right, you can move your hips a little bit. Play with the placement of your feet, of your hands, maybe on blocks. Noticing where you've got strength and where you're just collapsing. See if you can bring a little bit more strength into your foundation, into your feet, into your legs, into your hips, so that your heart can open up. You can extend from the tip of your heel up through Mooladhara, out through the crown of your head. Keep drawing left hip in. Exhale, right knee is going to come down and back a little bit. Toenails click to the floor. We're moving into Untitled, right? Your version. Draw your tailbone down, belly away from your thigh. Hands can come to heart center, up overhead or onto your hips, wherever feels best for you. Connect deeply to that sense of I'm connected to the earth. I am strong and steady. If you like, reach back for that right foot. Pressing hand into foot, foot into hand, drawing that foot closer towards your buttocks. Maybe opening out towards the left a little bit. Right? You can also hold on to it with the same side foot. The same side hand. I like the crossover better. Take one more breath. Exhale, release your foot. Plant your toe, bring your knee up, and then you're going to inhale into that Hanumanasana. Exhale to release back down into your lunge. Inhale, Hanumanasana, the half Hanuman. Exhale, back down. One more time with breath. Exhale, back down. This time we're going to draw energy up from the earth into our hips, out through the crown of our head. It's almost as though your left hip crease is moving back, sending your tailbone back. Lengthen from tailbone out through the crown of your head. Notice breath. Good. On your next exhalation, bend your front knee. Here you are back in lunge. We're going to move into lizard pose. So left foot might go out a little bit closer to the edge of your mat. Both hands on the inside of your left foot. Back knee can be up or down, your choice. And you're going to begin walking your hands out on the diagonal. right? Maybe coming down onto forearms or to your block. The little Susie idea of churning your butter here, rotating your hips in both directions or from side to side. And then giving your body a chance to settle into your lizard tonight. Your lizard tonight might look different than your lizard the other night. What would it feel like to be stable and steady and to open up at the same time in this pose? Take one more deep breath wherever you are. On your next inhalation, you're going to frame your left foot with both hands. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. Maybe give yourself a big sigh. Good, and then everyone's going to drop knees, big toes together, knees apart. Come and rest for a few breaths in child's pose or a seated pose if child's pose isn't serving you at the moment. Breathe into any sensations you have in your body. Breathe into that heart center. Reconnect with your intention for tonight. As your heart melts towards the floor, as your forehead touches the floor or your hands, just allow everything to release. All right, so we're going to move into Pigeon Pose. There are lots of variations, and all of those variations are good variations. So tonight, if you were noticing in our lizard pose, and in our lunge, and in our reclining pigeon, that hips were not really feeling it tonight, reclining pigeon, very good practice. We did that one already, right? We are all going to stay upright for a good long while in pigeon pose tonight before we fold forward. So you're going to want to make sure that you're really setting yourself up well, and I'll walk you through what that looks like tonight. There are other variations, right? One-legged king pigeon. If that's part of your wheelhouse, where you lift your back foot and you reach back to hold on to it, right? Totally available tonight. Not what I'll be walking you through, but it's certainly an option, okay? I'm going to walk you through pigeon pose tonight from table pose, but if you know you like it from downward dog, you can take it there first. We're going to bring our right leg forward first. So everybody press into table pose. Unless you're on your back, then you're just going onto your back. And before we go anywhere, feel breath in your back body. Right? Right at the base of your spine, right where your tailbone comes all the way down into your buttocks. Feel breath in your lumbar curve. Nice. And then we're going to shift and bring our right knee on the outside of our right wrist. So here's where Lori has a really hard time, right? I don't ever get my shin parallel to the front of my mat. But what I like to do is draw my right knee back as I shift my whole body back a little bit. The other thing I've been playing with is what happens to my foot, right? I am not able to get onto the side edge of my foot. It's something in my body that doesn't work that way, right? But what we're working towards is a really strong foundation in the right leg. Everyone, on your left leg, tuck your back toes and lift your thigh like we were in lunge. Maybe squiggle it back a little bit further. Take a look back and make sure you've got a long line, right? We're not aiming out towards either side. Pressing into blocks or fingertips is going to help you stay up. And then once you've got a strong and stable back leg, drop your knee and click your toenails towards the ground. That back leg is in a neutral position. We are internally rotating it, so the inseam of your pants is going towards the sky so that that left hip stays strong and engaged. We don't want to drop into the left hip. We also don't want to drop into the right hip too much, right? Both hips are stable and strong. Inhale, press whatever's touching the floor into the floor and draw your hips so that they're square towards each other. See if you can drop your tailbone just a little bit so that your heart can lift. So we are super strongly engaging. If you were in Supta Baddha Konasana with your knees out close to the floor, you're really going to want to make sure you're drawing that energy in, nice and strong and stable. If you want to play with that idea, bending your back knee and reaching back for your left foot, play, right? In my opinion, an intermediate class is about exploring, trying some things maybe you've never tried before, but always being respectful of your body, right? Ahimsa, nonviolence is the first rule. We're all still drawing in, drawing in, drawing in. If you're noticing as you're drawing in that you're kind of floating out here in that right hip, it might be helpful to place a block or a blanket or something under there to give yourself a little bit more stability and support. Keep pressing right shin into the earth. Good job. Now we're going to begin walking our hands forward, coming onto our forearms or block. Before we go down any further, as your forearms are on the block or the floor, draw your torso forward. Shoulders move away from your ears. You should still feel a lot of activation in your hips. And then if you want to come down onto your forearms or your block with your head to release your head, we're going to stay in this position for 3 more breaths, everyone. Do the version that works best for you. Nice. On your next inhalation, press into the earth with your hands. You're going to remove any props that you had underneath of your hips and come back, unwind that leg. Come back to table pose for a moment and then press down into downward facing dog. Nice. We're going to do the left side. So you're either coming into it from downward facing dog or table. If you have questions, don't hesitate to unmute yourself. We're going to bring our left knee to the outside of our left wrist. Right shin moves towards parallel. Maybe that means by scooting that left knee back. Keep your back toes tucked and look back and see, are you on your mat in line with your hip? Keep scooching that foot back so that you're drawing your hips towards each other and a little bit lower towards the earth, right? Internally rotate. So the inseam of your back leg is going towards the sky so that it's in a really neutral position. And then you're noticing where that left hip is, right? Left hip draws towards right hip draws towards left hip. Tailbone moves down as belly lifts, heart lifts. Press down into the earth. Draw energy into Mooladhara, into that root chakra. Lift up from that center. If you're playing around with another version, reach back and grab that back foot maybe. You can even draw it into the crook of your elbow. Right? It's just an opportunity to play. There's no has to, there's no shoulds. We're all staying upright for another breath or two. Good. If you're holding onto your foot, you're going to release. And then everybody, we're going to walk forward with our hands, coming down onto forearms before release fully. Draw forward with your forearm, or isometrically backwards with your forearm so that your spine lengthens. Notice what's going on with your hips here. See if you can draw them towards each other and then down towards the earth. Keep your spine nice and long as your ears draw away from your shoulders. And then if you want to release with forehead down, you can, or staying on forearms is a really lovely option too. Take 2 more rounds of your breath. This is a big external hip rotation in the front, internal rotation in the back. On your next inhalation, press your hands into the floor. Tuck your back toe so that you can lift your right leg back into downward facing dog or table. Take a few breaths wherever you are. Notice maybe if heels reach a little bit closer towards the earth if you're in downward facing dog. If you're in table, press back to downward facing dog. And then everybody, we're gonna walk our hands all the way back into a forward fold at the back of your mat, Uttanasana. Release your head and neck. Release your back. Knees can be bent as much as you want as belly draws towards thighs, allowing your spine to melt. Good, we're gonna do 3 pranams here. So inhale, slide your hands, come up halfway with a nice long spine. Exhale to release. Inhale again with a nice long spine. Exhale, release. One more, just like that. Inhale, nice long spine. Knees can be bent if you want them to be. Exhale, release. Slide your hands up to your hips. Roll your shoulder blades on your back. Bend your knees deeply and come into chair pose. So draw belly away from thighs. Tuck your tailbone a little bit. Hands can stay at your waist, at heart center, or up overhead. Keep drawing your tailbone down just a little bit, getting some energy in those legs, pressing into the earth. Maybe take a drink of a margarita since it's Cinco de Mayo. 2 drinks of a margarita. Inhale, rise all the way up. Root down from your hip points into the earth. Rise up from your waistline up to your fingertips. And then exhale, bring your hands to heart center. All right, I want to give you one more thing to play with tonight before we get ready for a little wind down, Shavasana, and then meditation. So this is going to be pigeon chair, and maybe I'll play with flying pigeon again, if you want to play and try. So everybody come into chair pose. There's a couple of ways you could come into it, right? You can start in chair pose, or you can draw your, let's do our right leg first. Right leg into belly, and then right ankle over left thigh. If you started in chair pose, you're gonna just lift your your right leg over. Balance is an issue for me on carpeting. Hands are gonna come to heart center, and you're gonna sit in this pigeon chair. Drop your tailbone, lengthen your spine. And then if you wanna play, you're gonna release your hands down to the blocks or to the floor. Press your left foot strongly into the earth. Extend your spine nice and long, right? So this is a little prep for flying pigeon. If your hands are on blocks, you're gonna just play here, right? So see how close you can get your left foot to wrap around your left arm, right foot to wrap around left arm, right? If your hands are all the way down on the floor, and you want to play with flying pigeon, you're going to wrap your right foot around your left arm, come into like crow pose, which we did a couple of weeks ago, and then maybe extend your left leg back. It's not in my wheelhouse tonight, but it is a little fun to play with, right? Standing pigeon, chair pigeon, totally a good option. Everyone take 2 more breaths wherever you are. Ooh, I see you playing and having fun. Nice job. Good. On your next inhalation, you're gonna release that right foot, Come back into Uttanasana and say, holy cannolis, thank goodness that is over. Woo! Shake it out. Good. Inhale, roll your shoulder blades on your back. Come back into chair pose. We're gonna just go straight into the other side, or not, just something to play with. So left leg is gonna come over right. You're sitting back in pigeon chair. Keep that left foot really active. And then maybe reach forward and down. Bring hands onto blocks or the floor. You're sending your tailbone back and your crown is lengthening, just like we've been doing all night, even like we were doing in lunge. Right? So then if you're bringing your hands down to the floor, right leg, or that's my left. Left toes are gonna hook around, right forearm, and then you're balancing, right? So you're creating a little shelf for your shin and your knee and your foot with your elbows. And then maybe you're playing, keep lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. Wherever you're playing, take one more breath. And then unwind, everyone. Come back to Uttanasana. Shake out your legs. Shake out your back. Shake out your head. Nice, and then roll yourself all the way down to a seat. Pause in your seat, wherever you come and land. And just notice. You guys are amazing to play with that. It's super fun and super challenging. Maybe someday we'll all get there. Who knows? That's not the goal. The goal is to stay connected. Have a little bit of fun. Roll yourself down onto your backs. Keep your knees bent with your feet flat on the floor. And just feel how everything is feeling. Allow your low back to release. Allow any locks you've got, Mooladhara, or clenching in your fists, or clenching in your jaw, wherever you've got some lock, to release. Separate your feet out about mat distance apart. You're gonna keep your feet active and just drop your knees from side to side. We're just returning to where we started. A little bit of twist, a little bit of release for the low back and for the hips. If you want to pause on one side, keep your feet active, maybe reach one arm up, get that nice long twist. Total yogi's choice. You don't have to do, well, you don't really have to do anything, I say. That's your choice. If you've twisted to one side, go ahead and twist to the other side. And then I've been playing around with Shavasana a lot this week, so I want to just share what I've been playing with. Bring your knees pointing towards the sky, your feet are on the floor, and you're going to just reach your arms up overhead and lengthen and squiggle your entire torso away from your hips. Get your body nice and long. Reach your hands up nice and high above your ears, almost as if you're flattening your entire back body, and just take a deep breath there. Your belly button can draw in and up just a little bit, right? Because you've got this really long length and this torso. And then on your exhalation, you're gonna just bring your arms down and allow that length to settle. So now you might have a little bit more lumbar curve, but you've got a nice long torso, and then extend one leg and then the other. And then press your head into the earth and just lift your shoulders and tuck them under slightly. So palms are open out by your sides. Torso is nice and long. You feel the sense of support beneath you with the ground. Make any other adjustments you feel you need to rest in a nice Shavasana for a few minutes. Feel the support of the ground beneath you. Bring a prop under your head or a blanket over top of your body to feel that sukha, that ease. Scan your body one more time from the tips of your toes up through the crown of your head and see if you can bring a little bit of softness to anywhere that needs it in this Shavasana. Begin to deepen your breath as you bring awareness back to the present moment. Allow some small movements, a wiggle of the fingers or toes to bring awareness back to your body in the present moment. And then as you're ready to make those movements a little larger, maybe drawing your knees in towards your chest, or reaching your arms above you to stretch out. Give yourself a moment to take care of whatever needs you have, rocking and rolling for a low back massage. Giving yourself a hug. And then roll over onto one side, pausing in that fetal position for a few moments. As you pause in the fetal position, right, drawing your knees in towards your chest, use this moment to just become a little bit more aware of the idea of steadiness and connection. That feeling of safety and security that we all need and deserve from infancy through adulthood. From the moment we were a fetus until this very moment right now. Give yourself one more hug in that fetal position. And then roll yourself, pushing yourself with your arms into a seated position. We're going to close with just a quick meditation tonight. So bring yourself into a seat that you feel that sense of stira, that sense of strength, that sense of connection to the earth, making whatever shifting adjustments you need to feel connected once again. Maybe bringing hands back to low part of your belly. Keep lengthen your spine as you have eyes closed or soft gaze, and we'll return here to the idea of Mooladhara, the idea of our root chakra, the sense of stability and connection, the color red, the sound of lum. And so in this closing meditation, just notice what reverberates with you. Maybe it's inhaling and exhaling the sound of lum. Maybe it's feeling a glowing ball of red energy and light at your root chakra, at the base of who you are, sending its love and energy throughout all the cells of your body. Or maybe one of the affirmations I'm about to offer will resonate with you, and that's how you'll close your practice tonight. Wherever I am safe and secure. What would it feel like to inhale? Wherever I am safe and secure. Or what would it feel like to inhale? I am strong, stable, and at peace. And to exhale and release anything that's not serving you in this moment, anything that's making you feel ungrounded or unconnected, unsafe or unsecure. Breathe deeply into whatever's resonating for you, the sounds, the colors, the affirmations, or just the feeling of connection to the earth. Take a deep breath wherever you are. On your exhalation, you're going to release your practice. Release your hands by your sides. Next inhalation, circle your arms all the way up overhead, joining palms together at the top, and then drawing your palms straight down to heart center. On your exhalation, pausing for a moment in Anjali Mudra for a moment of gratitude for yourself, for your practice, for your breath, for your hips, for the time you've spent tonight. Take a deep inhalation here, and on your exhalation, release your hands by your sides. When the next inhalation comes, once again, circle your arms up overhead, rooting down into the earth, pressing into the earth as you rise up, and then exhalation brings our hands straight down to heart center, this time pausing for a moment to feel gratitude for something larger than yourself. Take one more deep inhalation into that feeling of gratitude. And then exhale, release your hands by your sides. Last time, circle your arms all the way up together. Maybe even looking up as you reach up. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart center. Remember this time, press your thumb against your sternum, reminding yourself to keep your heart lifted and open. Stay connected to that root chakra. Drop into the earth, even as you're lifting up, so that we can stay connected, rooting down to rise up, using the connection we have to Mother Earth, to the universe, and to ourselves and each other to help us stay lifted, strong, and centered. We'll take a deep breath here together. If it's helpful to saying Om or Lum in your exhalation, you're going to do that for yourself. And then release your hands. Softly blink open your eyes. I'm going to come unmute everybody and say thank you so much for allowing me to share your practice with you tonight.